The moment you cross 40, your body quietly begins playing by a completely different and totally unfair set of rules. What used to be effortless suddenly requires twice the effort, and results you once expected simply no longer show up. You wake up one morning and realize something fundamental has shifted deep inside your body without any warning at all. The problem is not your willpower, not your discipline, and definitely not the idea that you have simply stopped trying. The real problem is happening at a cellular level inside your gut, and most people never even discover this hidden truth. In your 20s, you could eat almost anything, burn it off instantly, and wake up the next day feeling incredible. Your body was like a furnace that burned everything you gave it, no questions asked, and zero consequences felt afterward. But now, after 40, that same furnace has slowed so dramatically it can barely handle what you were giving it. The visceral fat keeps building, the inflammation keeps rising, and nothing you try seems to make any real difference anymore. But here is what nobody is actually telling you. The answer is not a supplement, a pill, or any diet. The real solution is 14 specific foods that work directly with your biology to reverse what aging has quietly done. And in the next few minutes, you will understand your body in a way you have never understood it before. To truly understand why these foods work, you first need to understand what is happening inside your gut after 40. Over a century ago, a scientist named Metchnikoff made a radical claim that nearly every expert around him completely rejected. He said that many of the most common symptoms of aging are caused by a weakening intestinal barrier inside the body. When the gut lining breaks down, harmful particles leak directly into your bloodstream and begin triggering dangerous chronic inflammation everywhere. Modern research has fully confirmed his idea, and it turns out he was right about something nobody expected at all. When the gut lining weakens, it creates a damaging cycle of inflammation, fat gain, and insulin resistance you cannot escape. And this is precisely why so many people over 40 feel completely stuck no matter how hard they consistently try. The very first priority is repairing your gut barrier, and 3 specific foods help you begin doing exactly that today. The first food is pomegranates, and what they do inside your body goes far beyond what most people ever imagine. Research shows that pomegranates directly stimulate the expression of tight junction proteins that keep your gut wall sealed and protected. The polyphenols in pomegranates are not just antioxidants, they are powerful signals that tell your gut lining to stay strong. What makes this remarkable is that you do not need much, as even a tablespoon a week creates measurable effect. Small and consistent exposure to pomegranate compounds begins influencing the signaling pathways that hold your entire gut structure together daily. The second food is green tea, and it shows up in the same gut integrity research for very compelling reasons. Green tea compounds support tight junction expression and help prevent your gut lining from becoming dangerously more permeable under stress. Instead of the gut wall breaking apart under daily pressure, these compounds help it hold together tightly and stay sealed. The third food is chickpeas, which contain specific compounds that directly influence gene expression related to your gut barrier function. This is not about their calorie content or nutrition at all, but about the precise signals they send inside your body. Certain foods literally switch on and off the specific genes responsible for maintaining your gut lining's structural integrity every single day. When that structure weakens, inflammation is triggered instantly, and that cycle is exactly what keeps your body trapped in fat. Before moving to the next group, here are 3 ingredients you must immediately and completely remove from your daily diet. Polysorbate 60, polysorbate 80, and polysorbate 20 are emulsifiers found in processed foods that literally break down your protective gut lining. They emulsify the mucosal layer inside your gut the exact same way they emulsify ingredients inside the processed food itself. Carrageenan is another ingredient backed by deeply concerning research showing it disrupts gut barrier integrity and promotes chronic inflammation internally.
And alcohol is simply one of the absolute worst things you can consume for gut barrier health and fat loss. Avoid those 3 harmful ingredients while actively adding these powerful gut-healing foods into your regular routine every single week. Now here is where things become even more critical if you are over 40, and most people completely miss this part. Your gut produces powerful molecules called short-chain fatty acids, and after 40, your body makes dramatically fewer of them daily. Research shows that butyrate levels in your gut drop sharply after 50, declining even more dramatically with every passing year. Every 5 years after 50, this decline becomes even more pronounced, making your food choices more biologically critical than ever before. These molecules are not just byproducts of digestion, they are the signals telling your body how to regulate metabolism and burn fat. They help control inflammation, maintain insulin sensitivity, and quite literally determine which of your most important and essential genes remain switched on. Think about it this way. In your 20s, the genes that helped you stay lean were wide open and fully accessible. After 40, those exact same genes get quietly locked away, as if someone stuffed them into a sealed and inaccessible locker. This is the core reason you felt sharper, leaner, and more energized in your 20s than you feel today. Short-chain fatty acids act as the keys that unlock those genetic lockers and keep your fat-burning metabolism fully activated. The second group of foods focuses entirely on feeding the specific gut microbes that produce these critical signaling molecules naturally and consistently. The fourth food on this list is plantain, and even plantain chips work well as long as the ingredients stay clean. Plantains are packed with resistant starch, a carbohydrate that bypasses normal digestion and arrives in your colon completely and fully intact. Once in the colon, microbes ferment that starch and produce the exact short-chain fatty acids your aging gut has been missing. The fifth food is green bananas, and this one surprises most people the very first time they hear about it from research. Green bananas are unripe, meaning they still carry high concentrations of resistant starch that fully ripened yellow bananas have completely lost. Because green bananas move slowly through your digestive tract, they feed your gut bacteria for a much longer and more effective period. That extended feeding window leads to significantly greater production of the beneficial metabolites your gut bacteria are specifically designed to create. This is exactly why the specific structure and ripeness of what you eat matters so much more after 40 than before. The sixth food is artichokes, which consistently appear in aging and microbiome research for one very compelling and scientifically grounded reason. Artichokes contain long-chain inulin, which is considered the single most effective fermentable fiber for producing short-chain fatty acids naturally. No other food performs this specific job as efficiently or consistently as artichokes do, according to published aging and microbiome research. The seventh food is chicory root, one of the most powerful inulin sources available, and one that is massively and widely underestimated.
Most people wrongly assume it is some kind of artificial gum or problematic fiber, but in the right amounts, it is exceptional. In the correct quantities, chicory root delivers microbial fermentation benefits that very few other fiber sources anywhere can come close to matching. The eighth category is specific nuts, including almonds, pistachios, Brazil nuts, and macadamia nuts, all of which ferment beneficially in your gut. But most nuts carry a hidden downside that very few people ever hear about, and it changes how much you should eat. Nuts like cashews are high in phytic acid, which actively damages gut integrity when consumed in excessive quantities on a regular basis. A small serving of quality nuts delivers real benefit, but beyond 1 ounce, the phytic acid levels become a genuinely serious problem. This is exactly why cooking with large amounts of almond flour is not advisable, as it simply contains far too much phytic acid. The dose always makes the poison, so small and intentional portions are always far better than large and indiscriminate amounts of any nut. Now we arrive at the third and perhaps the most fascinating mechanism of all, and it surprises nearly everyone who hears it. Polyphenols are plant compounds found across a wide variety of foods, and most people assume they work simply by providing antioxidants. But the truth is that most of their real benefit does not come from absorption, and this completely changes what you thought you knew. A study published in ACS Chemical Neuroscience revealed that only a small fraction of polyphenols are actually absorbed directly by the digestive system. The real power comes from what your gut microbiome does with them, converting them into entirely new and therapeutically potent compounds downstream. Some of these microbiome metabolites are so potent they actually cross the blood-brain barrier and directly influence how your brain functions. Research in molecular nutrition and food science found that these metabolites actively protect neuronal cells from the inflammation that slowly damages the brain. This is why the gut barrier work and microbial signaling work done in the earlier two mechanisms are so critically important here. Without a functioning microbiome doing its job, the polyphenols you eat simply pass through without producing the benefits your body needs most. This means the real power of polyphenols is unlocked not by eating them alone, but by first having a healthy, working microbiome. That is exactly why doing the gut barrier and microbial signaling work first makes your polyphenols exponentially and measurably more effective afterward. The ninth food on this list is dark chocolate, and before you get too excited, some very important details here genuinely matter. Dark chocolate contains potent polyphenols that, once metabolized by a healthy microbiome, deliver real and measurable benefits for fat loss and inflammation control. The caveat is that many dark chocolates contain cadmium, a heavy metal you should be fully aware of and actively manage. Research and expert guidance indicate that consistent sauna sessions and active sweating help your body excrete cadmium far more efficiently over time. So moderate, quality dark chocolate remains a genuinely powerful and beneficial food for people over 40 when selected and consumed with full awareness. The 10th food is hazelnuts, among the most polyphenol-rich and safest nuts you can eat consistently and confidently every single day. They expand microbial diversity inside your gut and are exceptionally well tolerated even by people with the most sensitive digestive systems around. The 11th food is pecans, which work in a similar way to hazelnuts but deliver a completely different and complementary polyphenol set. Diversity in polyphenol sources matters deeply because different foods trigger different metabolites, and your gut microbiome genuinely needs that variety to thrive.
The 12th food is capers, and this one always surprises people because it rarely appears on anyone's health and nutrition radar. Capers are exceptionally rich in a compound called quercetin, which is among the most extensively studied anti-inflammatory compounds known to nutritional science. Quercetin has been repeatedly shown in research to influence major inflammatory pathways and meaningfully reduce inflammatory markers, especially following microbial metabolism in the gut. The 13th food is blueberries, and the science behind what blueberries genuinely do for the aging brain and body is remarkable. The benefit you get from blueberries does not come from their sugar or carbohydrates, despite what so many people wrongly assume. It is the anthocyanins in blueberries that, after microbial conversion, can actually and reliably cross your blood-brain barrier without difficulty. Once inside the brain, they actively reduce neuroinflammation and make a measurable and meaningful difference in how your brain functions every day. This is not just about losing fat, this is about preserving cognitive function, emotional stability, and real mental sharpness as you age. The 14th and final food is strawberries, which deliver remarkably similar benefits to blueberries, but through a slightly different biological pathway. Raspberries and blackberries are wonderful options too,
But blueberries and strawberries consistently deliver the very best return for your effort and investment. Their combined polyphenol diversity creates a broader metabolite range inside your microbiome, which significantly amplifies every other benefit you have been building. Now let us bring all three of these deeply connected mechanisms together, because they are ultimately and truly just one unified system. The first mechanism was about strengthening your gut barrier and halting the chronic inflammation cycle that has been silently blocking your fat loss. The second was about restoring short-chain fatty acid signaling so your metabolism and insulin sensitivity can function the way they were designed. The third was about using polyphenols intelligently and consistently, not purely for antioxidant value, but for what a healthy microbiome does with them. These three mechanisms are deeply and inseparably connected, and applying all three together is precisely when your results begin shifting in a real way. When eating these foods, always think about the mechanism behind each one, not just about what nutrients it happens to visibly contain. Your gut health must come first above everything else, because without a stable and functioning barrier, everything downstream in your body goes wrong. Feed your gut microbes consistently and patiently rather than aggressively, because slow and steady moderation here produces far better and longer-lasting results. Focus on fermented foods, seasonal fruit, and polyphenol-rich fiber sources rather than simply adding raw fiber supplements to an unchanged underlying diet. Use polyphenols for diversity by rotating your sources regularly so your gut microbiome stays exposed to a wide and varied range of compounds. Pomegranates, dark chocolate, blueberries, capers, and strawberries are not interchangeable because each one provides something uniquely valuable that the others simply cannot replace. Every single meal you eat is either feeding the inflammation keeping you trapped or feeding the gut system quietly working to set you free. Your gut is where your health either slowly and silently falls apart or where you deliberately and consistently rebuild it from the inside out. When your gut barrier holds firmly and your microbiome is genuinely thriving, the results you have been desperately seeking begin arriving naturally on their own. The fat that once seemed impossible to move begins shifting, and your energy, your mood, and your mental clarity start returning too.
This is not a shortcut or a hack. It is the actual biological reality of what your aging body now needs from you. Food quality over quantity. The full matrix and context of what you eat genuinely matters far more than any calorie counting strategy ever will. The body you had in your 20s was largely a product of a gut system that was working powerfully and fully for you. Now you have the knowledge and the clarity to start deliberately rebuilding that exact same system with the right foods and right understanding. Start with the gut barrier foods first, then bring in the resistant starch sources and gradually layer in the diverse polyphenol-rich foods. Pick at least one food from each mechanism this week and commit to building from there, because your body will begin to respond. The inflammation that once silently blocked all your progress will begin to quiet down as your gut starts genuinely working in your favor. Your energy will stabilize, your sleep will improve, your cravings will become manageable, and your body will begin to visibly and measurably respond. None of this requires perfection, it only requires direction, and now you have a clear and science-backed direction to follow starting today. Science confirms what so many people over 40 already feel deeply and intuitively. The problem has truly never been about eating less food. It has always been about eating the specific things that send the right biological signals to your aging internal system every single day. Your gut is not just a digestive organ, it is the command center for your entire metabolic and immune system working together. When that command center falters with age, every other system in your body begins slowing down and gradually breaking down alongside it. Your body has not turned against you, it has simply been waiting patiently for you to give it exactly what it needs.
The shift you have been trying to force through willpower alone has always been waiting for the right biological and cellular conditions instead. Those conditions are built through the gut barrier, nourished through the microbiome, and unlocked daily through the 14 powerful foods covered right here. You are not too old, you are not broken, and this is absolutely and genuinely not too late for you to begin.